The galaxy shook on the day Vardos died. No one expected it. No one was ready. One moment, Vardos was a shining world full of life, light, and towering cities. The next moment, the planet was breaking apart like glass under a hammer. A bright white flash spread across space, followed by a silent explosion so huge that telescopes could see it breaking through the darkness like a burning sun. Every news screen across every world lit up in panic. Every channel repeated the same words. Planet Vardos has been destroyed. Billions of people across the galaxy watched the footage with frozen faces. The cameras showed a giant wave of fire rising from the surface of the planet, ripping mountains out of ground and turning oceans into steam. A few ships tried to escape, but the shock wave hit them like a storm and crushed them into pieces. Within seconds, the proud world was gone, turned into a spinning field of glowing debris. No weapon in the known galaxy had ever done something like this before. Even the most powerful bombs could not break a whole planet. But something did. Something strong. Something terrifying. At first, nobody wanted to believe the rumor. Some said it was a supernova. Others claimed it was an experiment gone wrong. Some even whispered about an ancient alien weapon waking up again. But then a single message appeared across the galaxy. A short transmission. Cold, empty, without emotion. Justice has been served. No one knew who sent it, but many suspected. And in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council, fear filled the air like thick smoke. The council chamber was a wide, circling room with giant windows showing the stars outside. Leaders from all across the galaxy sat around a long crystal table. Their skin colors, shapes, and armor were all different, but every face looked the same that day, filled with shock. Admiral Torga, a tall reptilian commander with silver armor and dark red scales, slammed his fist down so hard that the table trembled. Who did this? Who has this kind of power? He demanded, his voice echoing off the walls. No one answered. Torga scanned the room with burning eyes. Someone must speak. A planet does not fall without cause. A soft voice finally replied, shaky and weak. We believe we know the source of the attack. The council turned toward Minister Lyran, a thin, pale blue alien with trembling hands. His voice cracked when he spoke again. It may have been the humans. Silence dropped like a stone. Everyone stared. Some looked confused. Some laughed nervously. Others looked scared. Admiral Torga's eyes widened. Humans? Impossible. They do not destroy worlds. They protect them. For years, everyone had believed the same thing. The humans were known for kindness, loyalty, and hope. They helped other worlds rebuild. They forgave easily, and they avoided war unless they had no choice. They were emotional, yes, sometimes too emotional, but they were not monsters. But now, things were different. Minister Lyran swallowed hard. Reports say a fleet entered the Vardos system 3 hours before the destruction. Their ships match human design, but far more advanced than anything seen before. Another council member whispered, but humans have been silent for years. Their borders have been closed. They cut off all contact. Exactly, Torga growled. They have no reason to attack Vardos. The humans always repay kindness with kindness. A new voice spoke in the doorway, rough, tired, and filled with grief. They did not attack first, said Captain Syrinx, stepping into the chamber. Everyone turned. Syrinx was a tall, broad-shouldered alien with dark armor scratched by battle. His eyes looked empty, as if he had seen something no one should ever see. Torga spoke softly now. Syrinx, you were there? Syrinx nodded slowly. Yes, I watched Vardos fall. I saw the human fleet with my own eyes. The council leaned forward, breath caught in their throats. Syrinx's voice shook as he continued. They arrived without warning. No negotiation, no diplomacy, no signal of peace. They came like a storm. Their ships were enormous, bigger than anything ever built. Dark metal, no banners, no lights. Silent, cold. The room was frozen in shock. Their weapons, Syrinx paused, unable to find words. They fired beams of white light. Each shot tore open the planet's crust. Mountains melted. The sky turned into fire. I saw a whole ocean lift into space. And then the world cracked, like breaking stone. He closed his eyes tightly, trying to block the memory. Not a single human voice spoke. Not a single warning. Just one broadcast after the world was gone. He looked up, his voice cracking. For the Varen, gasps filled the chamber. The Varen were an old race, gentle, wise, peaceful healers, loved by many. But something terrible had happened to them in recent years. Something many tried to forget. Torga's voice dropped to a whisper. So the rumors were true. The Varen are dead. Syrinx nodded. Yes, and the humans have not forgiven that. They have not forgotten what the galaxy allowed to happen. A long silence filled the chamber, heavy like a funeral bell. At last, Syrinx looked around and said the words everyone feared. Humanity has returned, and they have come to collect a debt. No one spoke. No one moved. Every leader in the room realized the truth. A new war had begun, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same again. Many years before the fall of Vardos, before the human fleets became silent shadows, there was a time when Earth was dying. It began quietly, like a whisper. A strange sickness spread through human colonies. First Mars, then Luna, then the outer stations. At first, people only felt tired. Then they began to lose strength. Their hearts weakened. Their lungs collapsed. Entire cities were filled with hospitals and crying families. No medicine worked. No cure could stop it. The greatest human scientists worked day and night. Laboratories burned with lights through endless nights. But the sickness moved faster than hope. Every day, more names appeared on the death lists. Entire classrooms were empty. Streets became silent. Fear filled every radio, every school, every home. Earth's leader, Commander Evelyn Ward, stood before the World Council with tears burning behind her eyes. She had delivered many speeches in her life, but none hurt like this one. We are losing this war, she said softly but firmly. If we do not find a cure soon, humanity will vanish. Around the galaxy, many watched, but few cared. Humans were not powerful. They had small fleets, young colonies, and little influence. Other races shook their heads sadly and moved on with their own problems. To them, humanity was already dead. But when all hope seemed gone, something changed. A silver starship appeared in orbit above Earth, smooth metal, bright like polished stone, glowing with soft blue light. Its design was unlike anything seen before. No weapons, no war markings. It simply floated silently above the clouds. Human radar and military scrambled instantly. Fighters surrounded the ship. Every weapon was pointed at it. No one knew if it was friend or enemy. Then a gentle voice echoed through every speaker on Earth. Do not fear. We come as friends. We come to help. The ship opened and a group of tall, graceful beings stepped onto Earth's surface. Their skin was pale gold, their eyes gentle and bright like stars. They wore smooth silver robes and carried no weapons. They were the Varen. The world watched in stunned silence as their leader, Queen Telera, stepped forward. She smiled softly, her voice calm like warm wind. We know you're suffering. We have seen this sickness before, and we have a cure. Those words spread through Earth like fire. People cried in the streets. Soldiers lowered their guns, terrified and relieved at the same time. The Varen worked at once. Their medical ships flew across every human world. They moved through hospitals, touching the sick with glowing light that healed cells and restored strength. People who had been dying stood and walked again. Children opened their eyes. Families held each other and sobbed. In less than 3 months, the disease was gone. Earth was saved. The humans offered the Varen anything: wealth, ships, land, trade agreements, military alliances. But Queen Telera only smiled and shook her head. We want nothing, she said. One day, you will remember this kindness. That is enough. Humanity was changed forever. They built statues of the Varen in their cities. They sang songs about them. Children learned their history in school. Every human knew what the Varen had done. For once, the galaxy saw humans not as weak, but as loyal and grateful. They became allies more than allies. They became family. Years passed. Peace grew between their worlds. Humans visited Varen schools. Varen scientists worked alongside human engineers. Together, they built bridges of trust and learning. Commander Ward once said proudly, "Humanity never forgets a friend." And everyone believed it. But nothing stays peaceful forever. Far away, beyond the quiet stars, a powerful empire rose, the Draken Dominion. They were warriors, cold and merciless, who believed only the strong deserved to survive. They conquered world after world, burning cities and enslaving survivors. Their ships were black metal claws cutting through space. Their soldiers wore armor made from the bones of enemies. When they reached Varen space, they demanded surrender. The Varen refused, and the Draken struck like a hammer. They attacked without warning. They burned Varen forests. They destroyed their healing temples. They dragged families from their homes. The peaceful Varen, who carried no weapons, had no chance. Their cries echoed across space, but no one came to help. The Galactic Council watched, but did nothing. The Draken were too strong, too dangerous, too feared. Not worth risking war, they said. Not our problem, they decided. Others will save them, they whispered. But no one did. Finally, Queen Telera herself stood before them, wounded and exhausted. "Please," she begged, voice cracking. "We only ask for time to flee. Help us protect our children." The council turned away. Humanity, watching from their silent borders, felt something inside them break. The Varen had once saved their entire species. And now, as they were destroyed, the galaxy watched with cold eyes. The news came like a knife to the heart. Queen Telera is dead, killed by a Draken strike on her capital city. For 3 days, every human world went silent. No speeches, no messages, no trade, no movement, just silence. Commander Ward stood before her people. Her eyes were hard as steel. "We remember our friends," she said. "We repay every kindness, every debt." And then the human fleets disappeared from every star map. No one knew where they went. No one heard from them. No one saw them. The galaxy thought they were gone. They were wrong. Humanity was preparing something the universe had never seen. And soon the galaxy would shake. The galaxy believed the war was over before it could begin. The Varen were broken. Their cities were silent. Their people were scattered through dark prisons and mining camps controlled by the Draken Dominion. The Galactic Council closed their eyes and pretended nothing happened. To them, the Varen were only a small race, gentle, peaceful, not useful in war. Their destruction meant nothing to those who valued power more than justice. But to humanity, it meant everything. They had watched the Varen heal their dying children, rebuild their worlds, and give hope when all hope was gone. They remembered every hand that lifted them, every tear wiped away, every life saved. Humans did not forget. Humans did not turn away from friends. But the galaxy did. In the center of the council chamber, the debate began, cold, empty, and full of cowardice. A council member with shimmering green eyes said sharply, "The Draken are strong. We cannot risk angering them. It is better to stay silent than start a war we cannot win." Another leader nodded weakly. Yes, the Varen made their choice. They refused to surrender. That was foolish. We cannot save a race that refuses to save itself. The words tasted rotten. Even those who spoke them felt shame, but fear was stronger than honor. Then came the speech that changed everything. A Draken ambassador arrived, his armor sharp and black like the edge of a sword. He walked proudly to the center of the room, the claws on his boots striking the floor like war drums. When he spoke, his voice was cold and proud. "Let this be a warning to all who defy us," he said. "The Varen resisted. They are gone. Their queen is dead. Their world belongs to us now." The council stayed silent. The ambassador smiled, a thin, cruel smile. And if humanity thinks about acting like heroes, they will share the same fate. The threat hung in the air like poison. Far away on Earth, Commander Evelyn Ward stood before her people in the Grand Assembly Hall. Thousands listened in silence, and millions more watched the broadcast from every colony and station. Ward looked older than she had weeks earlier, not because of time, but because of grief. Her voice was steady, but pain burned in every word. "The galaxy has chosen cowardice," she said. "They let our friends die. They allowed children to be chained and tortured. They watched and did nothing." The hall was silent enough to hear hearts beating. "We are told to stay out of this war," she continued, "to let the Draken continue without resistance, to pretend we did not see the flames, to pretend we did not hear their screams." She paused, breathing slowly. "But we did hear, we did see, and we will not forget." Crowds leaned forward, waiting for the words they already felt coming. "Humanity owes the Varen a debt. They saved our lives when no one else would. They gave us hope. They believed in us. And now we will answer." Her voice rose like thunder. "Humanity never forgets a favor, and we never abandon our friends." The hall erupted in a wave of voices, shouting, crying, screaming with raw emotion. For the first time in history, the entire human race spoke with a single voice. For the Varen, the word shook windows. They shook the hearts of everyone watching. But something darker was coming. 2 days later, human scouts reached the edge of Varen space. What they saw was not war, it was slaughter. Entire cities burned. The bodies of the innocent covered the streets. Giant ships hovered in the sky, dragging prisoners into cages. Among the captives were children, thin, shaking, terrified. The scouts recorded everything. Every scream, every drop of blood, every voice begging for mercy. When the recordings reached Earth, they spread like fire. Every human who watched them felt rage ignite inside their chest, rage deeper than hatred, sharper than grief. For humans, tears became steel. Commander Ward called an emergency meeting with every fleet commander. The discussion lasted less than 10 minutes. There were no arguments, no fear, no hesitation. Their decision was unanimous. They would go to war. They would fight to the end. For the Varen, for justice, for honor. The next day, humanity sent a final message to the Draken Dominion, only 15 words long. Release every Varen prisoner. Surrender your weapons, or face consequences beyond imagination. The Draken leader read the message and laughed. A cold, bitter laugh. "Humans think they can challenge us? They are insects," he said. "They bleed. They break." He sent back a reply. "Come and try." And to show his contempt, he ordered an attack. The Draken fleet launched a strike on a human colony near the star Helion. They bombed civilian housing, hospitals, families running through the streets. Thousands died. The smoke rose into space like black rivers. The message was clear. We are stronger. We are unafraid. You are next. That was the moment everything changed. Humanity's grief turned into a silent fire. The kind, gentle race the galaxy once knew was gone. In its place stood something new, something unstoppable, something built from pain and loyalty and fury. Humanity vanished from every border. Their ships disappeared from every map. Their messages went silent. The galaxy waited. But humanity was not hiding. They were preparing. And soon, very soon, the stars would burn. For months after the attack on the Helion colony, humanity vanished from the galaxy. Their borders closed. Their trade stopped. Their communication channels went dark. No messages, no ships, no movement. It was as if the entire human race had stepped into a silent shadow. The Galactic Council watched nervously. No one knew what the humans were planning. Fear spread like a sickness through every world. Rumors filled every marketplace, every news broadcast, every whispered conversation. Did humanity fall? Are they hiding? Are they building weapons? Are they coming back? No one had answers, and silence was far more terrifying than any threat. Inside a secret military station hidden behind a ring of dead stars, Commander Evelyn Ward walked through a vast hangar where enormous black warships stood like sleeping giants. Engineers worked silently, their faces stern and focused. No one laughed. No one rested. Every second mattered. These ships were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Their metal skin absorbed light. Their engines hummed with power that felt alive, and their weapons were locked inside armored plates thicker than mountains. This was the project humanity had begun the day Queen Tellera died, the day the galaxy abandoned the Varan. The humans called it Project Horizon. The Draken would soon learn another name, the Wrath of Humanity. Commander Ward stepped into the command chamber, where admirals and scientists stood around a glowing map of the galaxy. A red mark burned over the destroyed Varan homeworld. Another red mark shined over Vardos, the Draken's capital world. A heavy silence filled the room. Admiral Rowan, a battle-worn man with a steel prosthetic arm, spoke first. "We have one chance. If we strike, we must strike with full force. If we fail, there will be no second attempt." Another commander, a quiet woman named Mira Solon, added with steady voice, "Billions of lives depend on what we do next. If we remain silent, more worlds will fall." All eyes turned to Commander Ward. Everyone waited. Everyone held their breath. Ward looked down at the glowing galaxy map, at the burning red stars of suffering, at the places of the Varan once lived, at the last peaceful memories of friendship and trust. Her voice was soft at first. "I remember the day Queen Tellera stood beside me," she said. "She healed our sick. She saved our children. She gave us life when we were dying." She lifted her head, her eyes turning hard. And when she begged for help, the galaxy gave her silence. The room tightened with anger and pain. "Too many believe that kindness is weakness," Ward continued. "Too many believe that mercy is foolishness. Too many believe that power means crushing those who cannot fight back." She paused, letting the fury settle in the air like smoke. But they forgot something important. Her voice grew sharp like a blade. "Humanity never forgets a friend, and we never forgive a betrayal." The room trembled with the force of her words. Admiral Rowan placed both hands on the table. "Commander Ward, say the word. Give us the order." Ward looked around at every face. People who had lost children, brothers, lovers, entire families. People who had cried for the Varan. People who had watched the galaxy turn away. Her voice cut through the silence. "We go to war." A quiet gasp moved through the room. Not fear, relief. Hope, justice. "Activate Project Horizon," she commanded. "Prepare every fleet. Alert every colony. We march at dawn." Her final order echoed like thunder. "For the Varan." The entire chamber spoke back in a roar. "For the Varan." That night, humanity's silent space returned to life. Engines ignited like stars waking from death. Thousands of ships powered up. Massive carriers opened like giant wings. Destroyers and dreadnoughts floated into position. For the first time in history, the entire human armada united as one. But they did not fly openly. The fleets vanished into dark hyperspace corridors, unseen and untraceable. The galaxy watched empty skies and imagined shadows moving through the black. No one knew where they were going, except the Draken. Far away, deep inside the Draken War Palace on Vardos, the Draken Emperor sat on a massive throne of black steel. Flames burned in long iron bowls around him. His armor glowed with red light, and his claws tapped the armrests like a ticking clock. General Kor stepped forward and bowed. "My Emperor, we intercepted fragments of human transmissions. They are preparing for war." The Emperor smiled a cruel, hungry smile. "Good," he said. "Let them come. We will crush them. We will make examples of them. Their anger means nothing. Their ships mean nothing." He rose from his throne, tall as a tower, and spread his arms dramatically. "When they arrive, we will break them. We will burn their worlds. We will erase their name from the stars." Every Draken soldier in the hall cheered. They believed they were invincible. They believed humanity would come with tears, fear, and desperation. They had no idea what was coming. 3 days later, alarms screamed across every Draken station. Sensors detected a massive distortion in space, far larger than any fleet ever recorded. The sky darkened. Stars disappeared behind a wall of metal. Humanity had arrived. An enormous ship emerged first, black and silent. It dwarfed every ship ever built, casting a shadow across the Draken capital like an eclipse. Its name burned across its hull in glowing white letters. Horizon's Wrath. Every alarm screamed at once. Every Draken soldier froze. Every voice whispered in pure fear. The humans are here. Captain Rhea Morgan stood in the command center of the Resolute Dawn, her hands gripping the rails so tightly that her knuckles turned white. The alarm still echoed to the ship like angry bells, and red lights flashed across every metallic surface. Outside the ship's windows, the sky burned with fire and war. Human fleets and Varcon fleets clashed again and again, throwing massive waves of plasma and missiles into the darkness. Every explosion outside looked like a dying star, but none of it compared to what was coming next. The Omega Cannon was seconds away from firing, a weapon that could split a planet. A weapon built only because the galaxy had forgotten what humans were capable of. A weapon built to return a favor. Rhea's voice shook as she looked at the countdown. 1 minute and 27 seconds. 1 minute and 27 seconds until everything changed. Admiral Holt's voice came over the comms, steady but filled with unspoken fear. Captain, are you prepared for consequences? Rhea swallowed hard. She wanted to say yes. She wanted to believe humans were doing the right thing. But deep inside, she knew war never really had a right or wrong, only survival. The Varcons started this, she whispered. They destroyed our colonies. They killed our families. They wanted us to vanish forever. Holt sighed through the static. And now we answer. The bridge crew held their breath. No one moved. No one spoke. Even the screen seemed frozen. Outside, the Varcon flagship Bloodbreaker turned, its weapons glowing like molten metal. They were charging for one final strike. Their comms activated, and the hissing voice of High Commander Zarak cut through the radio like claws scraping steel. Humans, turn off your superweapon. You cannot understand the death you bring. Rhea stared at the screen showing the massive Varcon world. Karen Prime. A planet with black oceans, red mountains, and cities built like giant blades. Billions lived there. Billions who cheered when Earth was attacked. Death! Rhea answered. You showed us death first. Zarak roared, full of rage. We spared your children once. But now we will burn every world you have. The bridge crew froze. That sentence hit harder than any weapon. Sparred? What did that mean? Rhea spoke slowly. Explain. Now. Zarak laughed, cruel and cold. When your first colonies were found, our Senate wished to wipe you out. But one old general said humans were small, weak, and not worth effort. We allowed you to live. Allowed. Permitted. Like humans were animals. The crew gasped. Someone cursed under their breath. Rage filled the air until it felt like fire itself. Rhea's heart turned into stone. They never gave mercy. It was arrogance. It was humiliation. And now they wanted to finish what they started. The countdown continued. 43 seconds. The Omega Cannon's core thrummed, shaking the ship. A deep rumble, like a sleeping giant waking. The engineers shouted updates over comms. Power at 94%. Shields close to melting. Structural integrity failing. Rhea looked at her crew, people who had lost friends, families, homes. They bowed their heads and stayed strong. Humans always did. It's time, Rhea whispered. Suddenly, a young officer, barely 20, gasped loudly. Captain, incoming transmission from Earth Command. Rhea blinked, put it through. An elderly woman appeared on screen, Grand Chancellor Evelyn Hart. Everyone on the bridge stood straight. Her voice was tired but strong. Rhea, all ships are listening. Before you fire, you must understand what history will say about this day. The whole galaxy will watch us. If we destroy their home, we become the monsters they always believed we were. Silence filled the room. A terrible silence. Rhea closed her eyes. She remembered the burned colony worlds. The screams. The names carved into memorial walls. The empty houses. The graves. We are already monsters to them, Rhea whispered. No matter what we do. Another officer shouted urgently. Massive energy surged from Bloodbreaker. They are preparing a weapon equal to ours. Screens lit up with bright red warnings. A storm of fire surrounded the Varkon flagship as a terrible light formed at its center. Both sides were ready to destroy planets. There would be no peace now, only victory or extinction. The countdown hit. 10 seconds. Everyone held their breath. Admiral Holt spoke softly across the speaker. If we fire now, there is no turning back. Rhea slowly raised her hand over the firing control. Outside the window, fleets collided like thunderstorms. Ships exploded. Space cracked with blinding light. Humans and Varkans screamed through radio static, each side refusing to surrender. 5 seconds. Zarak shouted over comms. Do it then. Show the galaxy your true nature. For seconds, Rhea looked around the bridge. Her crew nodded. They were ready. 3 seconds. For Earth. For revenge. For the future. 2 seconds. She whispered 4 words. Simple. Cold. Final. Fire the Omega Cannon. 1 second. The universe turned white. A blast so bright that every camera burned out. A shock wave so powerful that time itself seemed to stop. The ship trembled like it was being pulled apart. People screamed. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Gravity flickered. And then, everything went silent. Totally silent. The light faded slowly. And the bridge crew stared, eyes wide, unable to breathe. Because when the glow vanished, something impossible appeared on the screen. Not destruction. Not fire. Something that changed everything. Something no one expected. A shape emerging from the light. Huge, metallic, ancient. A ship, but not human. Not Varkon. Something older than both. A machine voice echoed through every speaker in the galaxy. We are the Archons. Cease your war immediately. Everyone froze. Humans. Varkans. Every living being in space. No one understood what they were seeing. But everyone felt the same cold fear. The real war was only beginning. Every heart in the human fleet stopped beating for a moment. The blinding light slowly faded, and space became dark again. But now something enormous floated in front of both armies, so big and ancient that even the stars looked small beside it. The Archon ship stretched miles across, shaped like a shining silver crescent. Strange symbols glowed across its surface, moving like living light. It was silent, motionless, and terrifying. No one knew where it came from. No one knew what it wanted. But everyone felt the same cold fear, the same instinct that animals feel when the sky opens and lightning falls. Captain Rhea Morgan stared at the screen, unable to speak. The Omega cannon blast had vanished inside the light as if the weapon meant nothing. The Varkon commander Zarak spoke first, his voice shaking. Archons, that is impossible. You were destroyed millions of years ago. The machine voice spoke again, calm but filled with power strong enough to shake the mind. We do not die. We only sleep. We awaken when young species forget peace and choose extinction. You have broken the balance. Rhea frowned. What balance? The voice echoed like thunder. Life must grow. Knowledge must rise. War must be last. Your weapons now threaten the roots of existence. Therefore, we will erase both of your civilizations to protect the future. The bridge fell silent. Erase. Not punish. Erase. Completely. Admiral Holt slammed his fist against his console. You cannot decide that. We will not let you wipe out humanity. The Archon voice remained cold. Your species has already chosen its path. You build weapons to crack planets. You kill and call it justice. You are dangerous. A deep hum surrounded the Archon ship. Rings of energy unfolded around it like giant wings. They glowed brighter and brighter, preparing to fire. One shot could erase the entire system. Rhea whispered, "This is worse than war. This is execution." Zarak's voice trembled. "Human, we must join forces. If we do not stand together now, we will die together." For a moment, old hatred burned inside Rhea's mind. She remembered the destroyed colony, the dead families, the screams. But then she looked around the bridge, at faces full of fear. She realized something strange. Humans and Varkans were enemies by choice, but the Archons were enemies by design. Extinction was the only option they offered. She pressed her comms. Varcon Fleet. This is Captain Rhea Morgan of a human ship, Resolute Dawn. We accept alliance. Silence. Then Zarak answered. Agreed. Until the Archons fall. The two greatest enemies in the galaxy, united in one heartbeat. The last battle begins. The Archon superweapon reached full power. A sphere of white light formed at its center, growing until it looked like a small sun. The Archon voice spoke. We begin the purge. Rhea's eyes widened. Fire everything we have. Protect the fleet. Thousands of missiles, plasma blasts, and railgun rounds shot into space like a storm. Varcon warships unleashed brutal black energy cannons that shook the void. Human dreadnoughts formed a shield wall around the Omega cannon. But when the attacks hit the Archon's shield, they vanished. Disappeared like rain falling into flames. Nothing is working, a human officer shouted. We need a new plan. Zarak's voice crackled. Human, your Omega weapon. Can it fire again? No, Rhea answered. It needs 5 hours to recharge. We do not have 5 minutes, Holt growled. The white sun at the center of the Archon ship expanded again, ready to erase every living thing. Rhea took a deep breath. We attack from the inside. The entire bridge turned to her. Admiral Holt stared. That is suicide. Maybe, she said softly, but humanity has done the impossible before. Zarak spoke slowly. We can break their shield from within. Varcon boarding ships are built for planetary storms. They can pierce energy fields, but they need an entry point. Rhea nodded. We will make one. She turned to her pilot. Ram speed. Full power. Hit their shield at the thinnest point. The pilot's hands shook. Captain, if we crash. We will die anyway if we do nothing. The pilot nodded firmly. For Earth. For the future, Rhea said. For the balance, Zarak added. The Resolute Dawn engines roared like thunder, pushing the ship forward at impossible speed. Human and Varcon vessels formed a spear around them and charged together. The Archon voice spoke again. Resistance is irrational. Accept extinction peacefully. Rhea shouted back. Humanity never accepts death. The ship struck the glowing shield. A scream of tearing metal. A flash like a star exploding. The shield cracked. Varcon storm ships dived to the fracture and vanished inside the Archon vessel. Rhea stared at the burning controls. Half her bridge was destroyed. Sparks rained down. People bled, but they were still alive. Then the comms activated. Zarak's voice roared through the speakers. We are inside. Their core is vulnerable, but we need the Omega cannon's last energy burst to collapse it. Rhea looked at the countdown. The Omega cannon had 0.3% charge, almost nothing. Admiral Holt whispered, It might work, or it might kill us all. Rhea closed her eyes. Humans had waited their whole history to prove themselves. This was the moment. She placed her shaking hand on the firing console. For every world they destroyed, for every life lost, for tomorrow, she pressed a button. The end of the Archons. A beam of blue light shot from the Omega cannon, thin but sharp like a spear. It pierced through the cracked shield and struck the Archon core. A massive explosion tore through the ancient machine, ripping it apart from inside. The silver ship broke into burning pieces that fell like dying stars. The light faded. The battlefield went silent. The Archons were gone. And humanity survived. Zarak's voice came through one last time, quiet and tired. Human, today you earned our respect. This war ends now. Rhea smiled weakly and collapsed into her chair. For the first time, space felt peaceful. The galaxy would remember this day. The day humans returned the favor, with firepower that cracked planets and saved the future.